Can you present your company and also works?
Sure. So, Avtrain is the company. I'm the founder and CEO. We train and certify drone pilots and operators. So, our mission at Avtrain is to encourage prolific drone operations, but keep the sky safe through the highest standards of training and certification. And we live by the 3Ds. If it's dull, if it's dirty, or if it's dangerous, then a drone should be doing it.
Tell us how many pilots have been trained for drones,
Sure.
how many per year?
So what we do is we provide open and specific category training. So on the open category, that's for hobby pilots. The specific category then, we train the pilots, but we also train operators. So we do operator certification where we are training for the grant of an operational authorization or for an LUC, a light unmanned aircraft systems operator certification. And we've trained probably more than between 80 and 90% of the pilots that are in Ireland at this moment in time. We have a huge market in the UK. We also are all across Europe. We've trained in France, Germany, Estonia is a big market for us, Greece, Spain, Italy, and we've clients now in Bulgaria as well, and also in Malta. So we've a really strong reach across the market, both from a national point of view within Ireland, from a European point of view where we have our EASA regulations. UK is a huge market for us as well because since Brexit they're operating under a different regulatory environment. And then the US is also a big market for us where we're attracting business from the US companies who want to operate within Europe and they're coming to Ireland to do their certification.
So it means that with the common regulation, European common regulation, your certification is valid everywhere in all the countries you mentioned.
Yes, absolutely. So it means an operator can carry out their training with us in Ireland, and it's valid then across any EASA member state. So not just the European member states, but all EASA member states. So Switzerland, Norway, they're all signed up for the EASA certification. So we do what's called when you have say an authorization within Ireland. You then you can do there's two things you can apply for. One is a cross-border authorization, which is where you want to fly from one country to another, or the other one is an authorization for a member state other than your state of registration. So and that means that let's say you're an operator who's registered in France. Well, then you can still do your certification through Avtrain in Ireland, and then you apply to the DGAC for your authorization, and then you can do cross-border authorization. Sorry, you can do the member state other than the member state of registration applications. Relatively easy process. It does take time, I suppose, for the EASA regulations to have commonality across all the European member states on the application of the EASA regulations, but we're getting there for sure. Yeah, so we have our main office is in Dublin in Ireland. We also operate in Shannon at Future Mobility Campus Ireland and with Shannon Airport Group, as you'll see here. And then we also, we're opening a UK base, which will be, the head office for the UK will be based in Belfast. And then we're also operating at Newcastle Airfield, which is a testbed, and with a large access to large areas of airspace that we can segregate in order to carry out prototype flight testing for aircraft or for large aircraft for operators to prove out their procedures or checklists and to achieve their authorizations.
You have many trainings. Is BVLOS part of it?
Yes, one of the endorsements that's available. So what you have is at the moment you have open category, specific category. As part of the specific category operational authorization, EASA have introduced 10 endorsements that you can get on your license. One of those endorsements is BVLOS. Other endorsements are things like operations close to an airport environment, nighttime operations in controlled airspace. So all of these are an endorsement that you can achieve, and we carry out the training for all of those. So we've not only do we do BVLOS training, but we've also worked with operators to gain approval for BVLOS both in controlled and in uncontrolled airspace. So how they go about applying to segregate the airspace if they're required to, or how they go about interacting with the air navigation service provider, with the ANSP, when they want to operate beyond visual line of sight in controlled airspace. We did this, we did a lot of work with Skyports, who are a large UK company, set up a company in Ireland in order to gain their European approvals. We did their LUC authorization with them, and then we actually carried out the flights for their proving flights for their LUC, where we operated for FedEx, and we operated from our base at Future Mobility Campus Ireland across to Foynes Port, across the other side of the Shannon Estuary, beyond visual line of sight, and that was for FedEx. And we operated those flights fully coordinated with our traffic control, in controlled airspace, without segregating the airspace. So it was coordinated rather than segregated, and we were carrying out up to 20 flights per day across the Shannon Estuary. So yes, we do a lot of DV loss operations. As I say, we now have our base at Newcastle as well, and we've got a large temporary restricted area put in place at the moment where we're operating against another UK company based in Ireland, and set up in Ireland, and their air data systems, and they're flying 100 plus kilo drones, and they're doing their proving flights at the moment as well for their operational authorization initially, and then for their LUC going forward.
Competitors in Europe?
What we provide, as I say, we're launching our investment round today, and the main purpose for our investment round is about building out software that enables the industry. There's nobody else doing this. People are doing parts of what we do. So people are training organisations, or they're a consultancy company. We cover all of those broad sectors, and not only just on the pilot training, but also looking towards airworthiness as well, because they're the airworthiness and airworthiness standards, design verification for aircraft, Part 21 design as we move through the specific assurance and integrity levels, through the sale levels. These are all going to become critically important as we get to more and more advanced operations, connectivity, airworthiness, and the remote pilot training is going to change, because it's not about somebody just having hands on sticks and having the physical capability of managing a drone that they can see. It's going to be about moving that forward, about VV loss operations, as you mentioned, but also where the remote pilot is nowhere near where the operation is taking place. So they're completely remote from the operation itself. So it's about a big part of our investment round is looking towards software that will enable the industry. So standardized documentation, standardized risk management processes. So breaking the SORA down into its component parts, both SORA 2.0 and SORA 2.5. I sit as part of the Unmanned Aircraft Association in Ireland. I'm the vice chair there. As part of that, we're part of JEDA, which is the Joint European Drone Associations. And then as part of JEDA, I sit on JARIS, which is the Joint Authorities for Rulemaking on Unmanned Systems. And then within JARIS, I sit on two working groups, both SRM, which is looking towards the new SORA 2.5 at this moment in time, and also on Ops, Organisation and Personnel. And then I sit on the steering committee, so the industry stakeholders body steering committee, and I'm the vice chair of the steering committee.
So you should be very busy lately.
Somewhat busy, yes.